Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for more dedicated legacy action. For today's midweek meta deck, there was only one choice that made sense, and that is Michael Reed, aka Eureka 22422's Beseech Saga Storm decklist. The reason why I say that is because Michael just back-to-back won 2 legacy challenges, which is an incredible achievement. So I just had to showcase this deck and show it off to all you lovely people out there. So this deck is fundamentally a Storm combo deck, which means we're trying to use fast mana in the form of artifacts as well as dark rituals to power out things like Beseech the Mirror, and we can either loop that via Gaea's Will to just play a load of spells until we Tendrils of Agony our opponent out, or we have this other draw engine here in the form of Echo of Eons, so we can fire this into the graveyard using these Entombs and just gas our hand back up again, and usually we'll have enough stuff to go and do something impressive. Now, alongside this, we actually have a slightly fairer game plan in the form of Urza Saga, which can make some large constructs because of all our artifact mana, and the new Lavaspur Boots can make this clock even quicker because the second token will just be immediately able to smash. There's also some nice synergy here with Orcish Bowmasters. Aside from just being a good card and facilitating the sort of secondary plan, we sometimes just play this, spin Echo of Eons, and that's half our opponent's life total gone, like in a single turn virtually, because, you know, we're going to be firing us off into other stuff. And sometimes you can just take out your opponent's life total all the way with just spinning the wheels on the Echo. So it's pretty powerful. I've experimented with something along these lines ages ago. Obviously not as refined as this or intelligently built, but the core concept is very solid. So even in my novice Storm hands, I could make something that worked pretty well with it. Now this is just a really refined build. Also, Orcish Bowmasters does some really cool stuff here because we have some Cabal Therapies that we can then use these bodies for, as well as the bodies from our Saga if we need to switch into comboing. We've got other hand disruption in the form of Thoughtseize and Duress. And it's just a really sweet looking list. I'm quite excited to give a go. I don't really need to explain anything else in the main deck, I don't think, so we just have a quick check at the sideboard. So Surge Node is an interesting one. So this is a card you play, and then you remove a counter from it to put a counter on your opponent's Chalice of the Void. So if they have a Chalice on 0, you can up it to 1, so we get to play all of our 0-drop things that are really important to our game plan. We have a Haywire Mite that we can go and fetch up. We can also get the green mana off of our, sometimes our Chrome Mox. Very rarely is it going to be our Chrome Mox because of Gaea as well, but usually it's going to be off of our Lotus Petals and Mox Opals. We've got some graveyard hate for the graveyard matchups that can go faster or pick us apart with some really powerful graveyard stuff early on. We can combo that off with a Helm of Obedience as well, which is a nice little tool to have access to, that we can obviously tutor with Beseech the Mirror. We've got Empty the Warrens as well, Sheoldred, which can aid our fair plan quite nicely, and also help us race against things like Doomsday. If we can power this out super early, the Doomsday player won't be able to effectively combo. And we just got some removal in the form of Feed the Swarm, because sometimes we'll need to blow up enchantments like Deafening Silence, and this is pretty much the only way we're going to be able to do that. We've got Dismembers to take out things like Thalia and stuff like that. And then we also have the One Ring as a nice little draw engine that we can board in and then go and get with Beseech the Mirror. If we're going to be trading a lot of resources off, our opponent's going to be stopping us doing stuff, this can just be the thing that goes over the top and gets us back in the game. And yeah, that's the deck. I'm really excited to play this one. I'm not exactly adept at Storm, but I do enjoy it as a concept and a deck, and I'm going to give it my best go today. So remember to like and subscribe, and let's play Michael Reed's absolutely fantastic record, double Legacy Challenge winning back-to-back deck of Beseech Saga Storm. Alright, we're into round 1. This is our opening hand. What can we do with this one? Not a lot. We don't have a way of ditching this, so we're not going to be casting it for the full mana. We don't really want this on our opener anyway, so let's just mulligan this one and get something a bit better for us. Okay, so we can take a look at our opponent's hand, and then we can follow up the next turn with Dark Ritual into Beseech the Mirror. That gets us somewhere. I think we'll keep this one, and we're probably going to chuck back the Cabal Therapy, I think. It's the least flexible of our discard spells. I'd like to keep hold of the Chrome Mox, because if we get Wastelanded, we're going to need another piece of starting mana. I think this is Vault of Whispers into Thoughtseize. Archon of Emeria. Well, that one can get right out, can't it? So we definitely don't want them to have the Archon. That might make it hard for them to play the Seasoned Engineer. I don't think we want to mess around by like trying to take some of the fast mana and get them that way. It's not really going to be a thing that works. So we'll take the Archon. Alright, this is very fortunate that we're on the play here. Otherwise, they'd have a turn 1 Archon and then we just auto-scoop, I think, at that point. Especially since they got a powerful follow-up in the Dungeoneer too. Alright, Lotus Petal. The Ancient Tomb. Chrome Mox, they draw something to imprint here. Oh, they're imprinting the Dungeoneer. They draw another... Alright, they just had another Dungeoneer, sure. Alright, we should be able to race this. It's a quick clock though. But we just need a little bit more action here. So we can put the Duress underneath the Chrome Mox. Beseech the Mirror. What does that do for us? So if we play this out and we imprint the Duress, then we cast Dark Ritual and cast Beseech, sacrificing our Chrome Mox. So that will be Storm 1, 2, 3. We go and get Gaea's Will. Or do we... No, we go and get another Beseech. Yes, we go and get another Beseech, which will be 5. Then we sacrifice the Vault of Whispers. And then that goes and gets us the Gaea's Will, which will be spell 6. And then this is 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, okay, so I think we have it here. Let's see if I can do maths. It'd be very embarrassing if I couldn't, wouldn't it? And I'm just going to spin our wheels here and not actually get going. Right, so we get Start Ritual. Cast this with Bargain, sacrificing this. We'll cast another Beseech the Mirror here. This goes to get us the Gaea's Will. We cast this. And then we play the Vault of Whispers, which we're allowed to play. Dark Ritual here. So this is Storm count of 6 so far. Let's play this Chrome Mox. We can imprint this Beseech from our hand. Cast this Beseech with Bargain. That puts us to 8. If we cast the Tendrils, it will be lethal anyway, but we may as well just get another Beseech just for that extra one. To do the full 20, just to show you what's possible. Let's point at our opponent's face. And we put all these on the same targets, and then our opponent will die to them. Look at that, I can do maths. Alright, not bad. I imagine this matchup is a little bit tricky though. We've got Chalices to worry about, which means we're going to need stuff like Surge Node. We've got things like Archon of Emeria to worry about, which means we probably need some kind of like Dismember / Feed the Swarm type shenanigans here. I think on the draw, we just can't be doing this sort of disruption. We need to be able to kill the stuff that they play on turn 1. So in theory, we could board out all of these things, which still leaves us with a couple of slots to find. Do I think an Empty the Warrens can get there? Potentially. I think we might just have to do like that sort of jam. And do we want a Haywire Mite? I think a Haywire Mite is pretty reasonable here. So I think this is what we're looking at. So we've got a little bit of cover for the Chalice. We can blow up some creatures like the Archon of Emeria that's just sort of game breaking. And Feed the Swarms can also do that, but cost a little bit more. I just don't think the hand disruption is where we want to be, because our opponent's going to be playing to the board as quickly as possible. Our Lavaspur Boots still good. Maybe we could end up in a Saga game. If we can't combo, we can try and do a Saga game. Alright, so what does this hand do? We play this. So this lets us spin the wheel, but it also has removal if we need it. I think this is acceptable. Alright, Lotus Petal from our opponent. We're going to see an Archon here. Have to imagine so. Oh, okay. That's bad in a different way. So if they name Lotus Petal here, we are not having the best time. I think on the play, we can afford to have some hand disruption. But I think on the draw, we just need to keep, you know, the things that get the stuff out of play, because of situations like this where our opponent can just do something on turn 1. So this Peacekeeper will make whatever thing they choose cost 2 more. So making our Lotus Petals cost 2 is going to be a real pain, because we can't get the mana out of our Mox Opal. I think the correct name is the Petal here. But if we draw something like a Lion's Eye Diamond, then we can just spin up a draw 7. They named Feed the Swarm. That's interesting. Oh, they have a Chalice as well. Okay. Well, well, well. That doesn't seem great for us, does it? So, to play this, is there any point of playing this untapped? It does allow us to Entomb in response if they play another Chalice, this time on 1. But the 3 life is going to be like a whole other turn cycle. So I think, considering the hole we're already in, I'm going to take my chances they don't just play a Chalice on 1 here. An Orcish Bowmasters. We don't get to play any of these cards in our hand, do we? I guess we'll fire off an Entomb now. Gets out of our deck and means we have to discard. It's going to be hard work to get through what our opponents put down in front of us. Yeah, this feels like a pretty tricky matchup for Storm decks, although Initiative is kind of on a very much a downward trend at the moment. It's probably like one of the weakest of the Ancient Tomb decks now. I think Mono Red Prison and Goblins are just the best Ancient Tomb decks right now. Feed the Swarm, you say? Alright, I guess we'll just cast another one of these. Something out that we don't want to draw. I don't think it matters really, does it? Just put another Echo in. They'll get shuffled in anyway. Yeah, that was going to get us regardless, wasn't it? Alright, I think we just scoop this one up. It's not worth it playing from here. Okay, so I like how we sideboarded, but I think I would like some Thoughtseizes on the play. Which means we're probably trimming these Feed the Swarms and one other card. I think it's... might be the Lavaspur Boots here. I don't think we're about that life. Or are we just going to trim like a Chrome Mox? No, I think we're just going to go for this. Okay. 1 mana, 2 mana. Play this, and then what? We can have an Orcish Bowmasters, which can take the initiative, but we don't get much out of the initiative. I guess we have 1 swamp. Like, this hand needs a little bit more juice. I think we can do something better. Like, we don't get to impact our opponent's hand here, and we don't get to just go. So this one has the Thoughtseize to impact our opponent's hand. We have the Entomb, we just need like a Lion's Eye Diamond. We've got Beseech the Mirror, so we just need a little bit more mana on that front. Is this good enough? This feels pretty marginal. I think I will keep and bottom Bowmasters. I like being able to interact with my opponents. Anointed Peacekeeper, Archon of Emeria, Surgical Extraction. So I think we take the Chrome Mox and try and go next turn. Ancient Tombs, don't draw anything to go with it. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so that shuts off the Lion's Eye Diamond line for us. Urza's Saga. Okay, that's something. So we get Bowmasters down if we think that's important. Right, there's the Cavern. They've chosen humans. They're playing the Anointed Peacekeeper instead. That is interesting. Am I supposed to Bowmasters, or am I supposed to try and dismember this? I think we try and dismember this, because they want to name Urza's Saga. But if they name Urza's Saga, we kill this. So they might have to name Dismember, which means our Urza's Saga is online if we have a land. And then we can also just drop in the Bowmasters whenever we need to. I think we do just drop in the Bowmasters now, rather than trying to pick off their Anointed Peacekeeper. So I think they're not going to fall for that one, since they're going to be able to see it right in our hand. Thought about it for a while and landed on Dismember as their card of choice. Right, I will put this into play. Ping them for 1. A Vault of Whispers. An excellent draw. So we're hopefully going to showcase the backup plan of our deck, which should be pretty strong here. It'd be nice if we had the Lavaspur Boots maybe. But we do not. We can use this to get a Lion's Eye Diamond that we can get through the Chalice. And then we can fire that off to get our Echo of Eons going. Because they don't have a window after we've done this. Alright, what fresh hell is this? Another Anointed Peacekeeper. Alright, so we have to make this in response. So what we can do is, if we get to do our combo of the Lion's Eye Diamond, Echo of Eons, we get to ping a bunch of times and just strip out all of these Anointed Peacekeepers. And we can use our Urza's Saga for damage purposes. I think they're going to name Urza's Saga with their Anointed Peacekeeper. But we'll see. They're named Urza's Saga. As I thought. And we do the Lion's Eye Diamond that we don't really want to cast anyway. Okay. So we'll float off of this. We'll go and get ourselves the Lion's Eye Diamond. I guess we could get Surge Node. But I think just getting the Lion's Eye Diamond here and doing a wheel and pinging them a bunch and crashing for some damage is probably where I want to be. So this is a mana ability, so they can't actually take this away from us. But we can just crack this LED right now as well, just in case my knowledge is slightly off. Right, let's go and put this Echo of Eons in the bin. So we'll get to ping down both of these and ping our opponent for 1. And then we'll crash for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Plus any artifacts that we can play. It's pretty good. Ooh, they paid 2 life, so they're dead now, right? So immediately flash this back. We use a colourless and one of these blues. Alright, so 1, 2, 3 here. And then 1, 2, 3 here. And 1 upstairs. Start ritual. Cast Bowmasters. We already have lethal on board, but we may as well just get a little bit of extra damage in. There could be something like a Solitude waiting for us. Alright, they did not have a Solitude and we got the win. I can do a little bit of maths. Alright, excellent. Let's go to round 2 and see if we can keep it rolling. So our opening hand for round 2 doesn't actually do anything unless we just want to play the Orcish Bowmaster game, but I don't think that's what I'm about. What about this one? No, this doesn't really go anywhere either. Okay. So we'll be looking to draw either one of our 4 Dark Rituals or a Entomb or an Echo. We got loads of draws to make this hand good. So we get rid of a couple of these. So we get 1 piece of hand disruption. Ancient Tomb. Chalice for 1? Chalice for 1 it is. Alright. No Thoughtseize for me. No Cabal Therapy for me either. So we could play out our Lion's Eye Diamonds to dodge additional chalices. That might have been a smart thing to do. But like I said, I don't play enough Storm to really know the metrics. Oh, okay. We're on a probably mono brown Cloud Post. Gaea's Will. That's a terrible draw, isn't it? Okay. Gonna need some help, deck. Another Cloud Post. Alright, that mana is certainly ramping up. So we could expect he's on like a Golos or something soon. Okay. So how big can we do Beseech the Mirror into... Oh, we don't have the Gaea's Will as a thing we get to use, though, do we? But we can do Beseech and try and find something. Alright, you've got lots of mana, opponent. Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Okay. You've got a clock. Understood. A Chrome Mox. So they're on 16, so we need a storm count of 8. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 for the other Beseech. 5 for another Beseech. 6 for another... I guess we can put this into our graveyard and shuffle it in. We can Beseech without bargain. Oh, I haven't done the math here. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to wheel. Okay, yeah, I think we go. All right, we're going to put our Cabal Therapy underneath it. We're going to cast this Lion's Eye Diamond. Then we cast this with bargain. Wait, do we even need to, we can cast it without bargain, can't we? And just get the Echo of Eons in our hand. Doesn't quite get us where we need to go, does it? But it gives us a good turn next turn. Potentially. No, I don't think I like how I did that. We could have beseeched. So that would have been 4, 5, 6, 7. Where was the 8 spell coming from? I couldn't think of the 8 spell on that one. That might bug me later on. So we can make this Echo of Eons with Bowmaster in play next turn. We just need our opponent not to absolutely jam us up this turn. Which is probably something they're going to be quite good at doing, given the absolute bucket loads of mana they have. A Thought Not Seer. Interesting. Do we care about this Bowmasters? I'd rather they take the Bowmasters. So we need this Echo of Eons. But we can just do some artifacts, and their stuff seems to be destroying colourless permanents. Coloured permanents, not colourless ones. So we should be able to get some joy off of our saga. And it's going to be large. Like, all of our permanents are basically artifacts. Right, they took the Echo. Not a surprise. What's the ultimate on this one? -10. Okay. A Thespian Stage. Copying the old Cloud Post. Not a surprise. Oh, I passed through my end step. Good. Oh, okay. We have... This should be deterministic now, right? We need to do 8. So we can go Beseech the Mirror, into Beseech, into Beseech, into... Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is lethal. How much mana have we got, actually? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We don't have a good way to wheel with this Bowmasters in play. Alright, so we'll tap this for black. Let's cast a Beseech with bargain. And we'll sacrifice... I think it's the Chrome Mox here. We've already got the mana out of it. We've already got the mana of our Opal. Let's get another Beseech. Cast this with bargain. Sacrifice this Mox. We're going to get another Beseech. This is bargain. We'll get rid of this Saga. How much mana have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. So we can beseech. Yeah, this should be fine, right? Go this one. Now we're going to get the Gaia's Will. We shuffled in earlier. And that's deterministic at this point. Oh, we're supposed to sack this Lotus Petal. I forgot to do that. Whoops. Let's play this Mox. Play this Mox. Go and print this Entomb. Play this as a Saga out. Cast a Bargain. We're going to get the Tendrils. Cast the Tendrils, point our opponent's face. And that's a lot of damage. I don't believe our opponent's going to have main deck ways of beating this. Alright, I was correct. So we managed to get that one. So, Cloudpost. Cloudpost is a deck that is quite slow setting up, usually. As you've seen, they're going to have stuff that we're going to want Surge Nodes and Haywire Mites for. I think I quite like the empty the Warrens here. So we can just put like some reasonable pressure. They're going to take a while to clear it. So I think that's an option we have available to us. We only saw Colorless, so I'm not expecting things that we need to use these for. Like, yes, we can dismember a Thoughtseize, but I don't really think that's going to be a big difference in this game. So if we're boarding these in, what are we getting rid of? We're probably trimming on Entombs and an Echo, because our opponent's probably going to have Leylines. Like, we could board in some Feed the Swarm to deal with that, or we could just try and insulate ourselves a little bit better against that by removing some of those pieces. Alright, we'll try like this. It's a pretty stinky opener, so we're going to mulligan this one. So we can throw this back, so we can ignore that for now. So this is 1... We don't have the second artifact we need. But if we do get the second artifact we need, then what? And this, go, and this, and then we can... Okay, yeah, this one seems good. We chuck this back. Chalice for 0 is going to be a bit of a problem for us. But I think we just have to accept that. Chalice for 0. There it is. Maybe we're not supposed to keep this one that's so cold to Chalice. I don't know. Mox Opal. Okay. What I'm learning is I'm much better at playing this deck on the play. Right, a couple of Glimmer Posts now. A Grim Monolith. A Vault of Whispers. I don't hate seeing that one. So we could Cabal Therapy our opponent right now. I don't hate that. I think we named Thoughtseize. That's one of their disruptive elements we've seen. Oh, we got 2. Karn though. Karn is real bad. Karn is real bad here. What are we supposed to do about that? And it's coming down this turn, and we're going to lose our Vault of Whispers as well. I don't think we can beat the Karn. Yeah, I think we're done there. Okay, so I really do like the hand disruption. I think that's probably our best tool. I like how he's sideboarded here, although the Entombs might be more useful on the play because we can sort of go a little bit faster and harder. Do we want these empty warrants? I do still think we want the empties. I think they give us a nice angle that we can... Maybe it's the Bowmasters. It doesn't really impact our opponent's deck that much. And that gives us an Entomb, 1 Entomb, and 1 more Echo back. We'll just hand to... We can't Thoughtseize... We can't use this to hit our own Echo. We could play this, play Bowmasters on 1, turn 2, start pumping out Saga tokens. Turn 3, Echo. Yeah? Okay, I think that's reasonable. A Leyline. Alright. That makes our hand even more reasonable. Right, we're going to play this out before the Chalice hits. We're going to Duress our opponent now, I think, rather than getting the Bowmasters out. I want to stop whatever nonsense our opponent's got going on. A Grim Monolith, Ugin, Warping Whale. Okay, so we're just going to take the Chalice, and we don't really care about the rest of the hand. Warping Whale can hit a sorcery, but we've got a pretty solid board here. Exile creature, yeah, so that's not going to affect our creatures. It can kill a Bowmaster. A Cloud Post, sure. A land would be nice. It's kind of like a land. With the Leyline, this Echo is not very helpful. So I think we just... Do we need to play that out right now? It saves us a Lotus Petal. Yep, sure. Let's do that. Alright. There's going to be a job for Lavaspur... Whatever they're called. Speedy Shoes. Alright, there's the Grim Monolith. Let's make a friend. Are we Dark Ritualing here? To get more going? I think so. Cast this Dark Ritual. We'll make some guys. We'll make a guy. Use Lavaspur Boots. And we'll equip this to this guy. Alright. You got one turn opponent, and all of our things are colourless. It's going to be hard for you to answer them. We've got an Orcish Bowmaster waiting in reserve. Ugin. Sure. You're making a little 2/2 guy. Cute. Both of our threats are lethal here. They can create a 1/1 Eldrazi token, but we can ping that down. So we should have this. It says counter target sorcery spell. I assume that's not the mode they're choosing. Alright, so then we'll just play our Bowmasters, ping off their guy, and that's the game. Alright. We got another one. And once again, we split the games we won with one Tendrils Ing and one Saga Ring our opponent. So I'm pretty happy about this. Let's go to round 3. Alright, what does our hand do here? We have this into this on turn 1. And we can start Saga gaming and then just pop when we're ready. Yeah, okay. I'm down to clown. Prismatic Vista. Okay, so we're going to be on the slower side of things. Let's play this as a Saga. We're not going to play out this Chrome Mox straight away because it can get Pithing Needled. Not Pithing Needled, Prismatic Endinged. I'm not expecting things like Thalia out of our opponent. If this was a Yorion deck that led off a Prismatic Vista, then Thalia becomes more likely. But it wasn't a Yorion deck, just a 60-card deck, so I'm expecting some kind of blue-white control. Right, so let's play this one out. Let's play this Lion's Eye Diamond. Right, they didn't force that. Okay. Let's play this Chrome Mox. I played this one out first because I'd rather they force the Lion's Eye Diamond here in the Chrome Mox. We could just try and go here, but I think we're best off just waiting a turn. Just making some constructs, and then we get to Thoughtseize next turn and have like triple Lion's Eye Diamond. That should be pretty good for us winning the game that time. We're going to see from our opponents. A Forest. And up the Beanstalk. Sure. And a Floated Strand. Sure. Let's make a friend. So something like Dress Down is a thing we have to be a bit wary of. I think we are in the let's make another guy mode. See a Stifle here? No, a Plane. So they're going to plow this before we make a bigger guy. That's understandable. So I could get a Mox here, just have a little bit more mana. But we're going to be playing this Agadeem's Awakening, but maybe we want to double Thoughtseize here. And then next turn we can just try and go off. I like that. So let's Thoughtseize my opponent here. Don't really care for some of these spells. Okay, we'll take the Force of Will. And then we'll play this. And then we will take the Teferi here. And then next turn we can crash for some, and then we can just combo off, and we should have enough tools to get through what our opponent's doing. Now we could have saved a Thoughtseize for our turn maybe, but I think we don't really want them to have either of those things around. I think these are the Unfinity basic lands. Pretty cool, not really seen anyone play them before. Okay. Play Lion's Eye Diamond to grow our guy. Go attacks. Beseech with Bargain. So we'll hold priority and we'll choose this guy as well. So we'll cast this, and with this on the stack, we'll crack this for black, crack this for black, and we'll resolve our guy's will. Alright, our opponent's given up. So basically we just replay all these and then beseech into Tendrils like you've seen before. Alright, pretty good. This is probably a matchup where someone like the One Ring is going to come in handy. So some sort of Beanstalk control list. Lavinia is likely to be a thing we have to watch out for as well. I'm not really a big fan of Empty the Warrens in this sort of matchup because they can just set up a Triumph and that can kind of ruin things. I don't mind the Sheoldred the Apocalypse either in this sort of matchup. It does die easily to Plows, but how many Plows are they going to keep in? It's a tricky one. So these are the things I'm interested in. What am I not so interested in? Is Lavaspur Boots where I want to be? I don't think so. We can trim on some of the graveyard stuff here. Like making our opponent redraw a hand full of permission is not going to be great. We don't have anything like Veil of Summer, so I'm kind of off the plan a bit there. Orcish Bowmasters is very good. Maybe we just want to really reduce the Echo of Eons plan. Maybe this is absolute madness. I'm not sure. But I'm kind of just relying on this One Ring being our draw engine instead. So what does this hand do? We've got a Cabal Therapy. We've got Answer for Lavinia that we don't actually get to cast because of our mana situation in terms of the restrictions. But we're pretty close to just going off here. So I think we'll keep this one. We can Cabal Therapy early on and then go from there. We're probably going to end up putting this Dismember in. Because Dismember's not actually going to kill the Lavinia, which is awkward. Are we supposed to name Lavinia? I think Lavinia's probably easier to play around than Force. Sorry, harder to play around than Force. Tendrils of Agony. Just raw dog Tendrils of Agony. Interesting. Let's play this one out. Play this one. Put this Dismember underneath it. Again, Force of Vigored. This pause is definitely very Force of Vigory. Right, so let's put this Dismember in there. Let's Cabal Therapy our opponent first. Actually, no, let's play this Lotus Petal first. And then we'll Cabal Therapy them. I think I want to name Lavinia. Oh, which one is it? Azorius Renegade is the one I want here. Did not have it. Okay. Interesting. I think I'm kind of into, when they fire off this Brainstorm, just attacking them with this Bowmaster and just having a nice threat there that our opponent's not really very well prepared to deal with. Right, they're not just firing off the Brainstorm here. They're going to use it to sort of preserve some cards in their hand, I suspect. And Entomb, what does that do for us? Not the vastest amount of anything, is it? Alright, I think we're just passing. Right, so now we get our opponent. So that's for black. Crack this for black. Oh. Sorry, that was a bit of a spew there. We were supposed to wait for them to put the Brainstorm on the stack. I just distinctly thought they had a Brainstorm, and I was just offered a cup of tea as that spell went on the stack. Although I should have paid more attention. That's on me, that one. A Leyline Binding. Sure. This is going poorly for us now. I'm inclined to get this Entomb, because that way if we find any piece of artifact mana or an artifact land, we can spin the wheel here. And we did leave him one Echo of Eons. Duress. It's not really the one we wanted, was it? Right, we'll Duress our opponent though. Kind of need to stave off whatever they're putting together over there. Yeah, a lot of these are pretty bad for us. I guess the Up the Beanstalk is kind of the more annoying one, but then the Leyline Binding is going to hit our Chrome Mox, and that's going to make me very sad. Alright, we'll take that. I think we've lost this one. But we need to just try and spin the wheel here. But then our opponent's going to have a bunch of cards in hand and probably have a Beanstalk in play. Yeah, not happy about this one. Okay, they're just playing Teferi. Are they going to bounce our Chrome Mox? They are. So we at least get to nail the Teferi here, but that's not the most exciting thing for us. So we only have the one Tendrils in the deck, so we have to be very careful what we do with this one. Still don't have the ability to play the Echo, because we can only do the Echo. We can only make mana off of Mox Opal when we have priority, and the other one goes away because of Legendary. So we can float from this, but we'll never actually have the third artifact in play. Alright, another Teferi. Understood. Teferi stops Beseech the Mirror from doing its thing as well, if I remember rightly. Yeah, I think we can just be off this one. Okay, do I want to do anything differently? I'm not really convinced that Dismember against Lavinia is going to do the things we want it to do. Let's have an Empty the Warrens. Have another Echo in there. Like, Feed the Swarm costs 2, so it's more reliable at killing Lavinia. Alright, we're going to work with this. This hand is terrible, I think. So we could do what? We could Duress plus Bowmaster on turn 1 and then just kind of be doing nothing. We can do better than this. This is very close to casting the One Ring. I think I will keep this. What are we putting away here? It's probably the LED, because we need a black card for our Chrome Mox. Yeah, I think it's the LED for now. I think we'll begin. Good old-fashioned Thoughtseize. If we can find a mana source next turn, then we're away. Leyline Binding, Brainstorm, Force of Will, yuck. I guess we take the Force. It's not great. If that was like a Force of Negation, then maybe we'd be taking the Leyline Binding, so we could try and just stick the Sheoldred against our opponent's hand, which is pretty good. But we are at somewhat of a disadvantage right now. Wait, we can't play out this. We can play out the One Ring. Our opponent will Leyline Binding it is the issue. Are we supposed to wait? Oh, I shouldn't have played this Mox Opal out. If we wait one more turn, maybe we get another thing, so we can try the One Ring and then try the Sheoldred. Yeah, we shouldn't have played that Mox Opal out. We've just exposed it to removal, but maybe that will be a thing that our opponent will try and remove. And then our One Ring is more likely to stick around. Another Misty. So which one is this? That's Rug. So this gets them Underground Sea? No, not Underground Sea. A white, black Scrubland. I can't get that. So they can't Leyline Bind us this turn. But they can Brainstorm for some more action. A Duress. Our opponent's just going to hide cards if we try and Duress them. I think we're supposed to try and put this One Ring into play. The other option is to put the Sheoldred into play. Which do I think is the better play here? The One Ring immediately draws us a card. I think the Sheoldred is the bait. Alright, so this is the bait. So we've got Force of Will pitching one of the Brainstorms. Sure. And then next turn, if we draw a mana, we can try and put the One Ring into play. Alright, so they're Leyline binding us. They're going to take out the Chrome Mox. Sure. Alright, so we need Artifact mana to turn on our Mox Opal. We also need some additional mana for this One Ring. Triumph. Okay, that's going to be less turns that we have to play this game with. Yeah, I think we're just toast on this one. Orcish Bowmasters we can't cast. Yep, so we're going to take a big crack for 5. So that's going to make it a lot more difficult for us to leverage the One Rings. We're going to have less life to work with. Narset. Yeah, okay, we're done. We're done. The one thing we were trying to accomplish is shut off by the Narset. Yeah, that felt pretty awful. It was about time we took a loss, I suppose. This didn't feel remotely close, though. All right, let's go to round 4. Yeah, this hand seems pretty handy, I think. Keep this one. So we get to do this. We imprint the Duress. Cast a Dark Ritual. And then we have a choice. We can swing high, or we can Thoughtseize our opponent. That was quite the pause our opponent had there, wasn't it? Such a pause. I think we're supposed to Thoughtseize our opponent here rather than just doing the high end. Yep, so we've got a Force of Will that we don't really want to play against. Play this out. We don't get to play the Bowmasters, unfortunately. But we get to Entomb. Can grab ourselves an Echo. That's triple blue. Cast the Echo. We use all the blue mana, so we've got black in our pool. We haven't even played a land yet, so dismiss our opponent's hand. Let's cast Dark Ritual. Right, there is a Force of Will over there. Understood, opponent. Play this out. Play this out. What do they pitch? That a daze. We play out this LED. We don't quite have the mana we need, but I don't want this to get discarded from our hand. I guess I'm more likely to hit the Beseech anyway. But if our opponent goes for a Ponder or something, we can smash down a Bowmasters. A Grief. Right, we will need to fire off this Bowmasters, I think. Because the likelihood is they take the Bowmasters on the first way and get the Beseech down on the second. Our opponent doesn't have any lands or anything, so there's no dazes for us to watch out for. Alright, so we're on the Urza Saga plan until we draw some gas. But our Sagas are going to be huge. And our opponent has a hand not of their choosing. What do they pitch this? They've already done 2 pitch cards as well. Wasteland. Ah, the Saga plan is off. It's off, everyone. Sad times. Alright, let's get attacks in. I think I'm okay playing this Duress now. We just want to shut down anything our opponent can do to kill our creatures. Well, we don't want this Entomb happening, that's for sure. Now, they can obviously just surveil a guy in. Doesn't happen very often, but it feels horrible when it does against you, and amazing when it does for you. So, right, left on top. Come on, little Bowmasters. You've got some work to do. I think this is better as a land in play, rather than a something that can pitch to Chrome Mox. Cycling Control of Khazad-dûm. This one can stay in our hand. Right, let's put our opponent down to 12. The lower we get them, the worse any sort of reanimation effect becomes for them. Animate dead. Okay. That's not the reanimate effect that we wanted, unfortunately. Beseech the Mirror that we can't quite cast. Right, I guess we pass. Our opponent has the superior clock now. A little troll goes a long way. Yeah, just run a runner. Okay. It's not the one. It's going to be a tough time. Just take the turn off the clock as well. We can't block the troll. Need many, many bodies to block this. We can block the Grief if we want to. Tendrils of Agony. That is also not the one we wanted. Like, if we block the Grief, maybe they reanimate it and that's bad for us. Are we better off with these Bowmasters stopping any sort of cantrips? Our opponent only has 1 card in hand and it's Daze. So if they play a land or something, maybe we don't block. So if we block here, we do save ourselves some time. So I think we have to block. This does unlock our opponent's cantrips. Yep. Some pretty good cards you got over there, opponent. Pretty nice cards. So This shuts off the Echo of Eons line for us as well. I think we've just been picked apart. Yeah, we wheeled them into a pretty good 7 there. Yikes, yeah. We wheeled them into the answer to everything we had, which is disappointing. I think this is probably one of the matchups where we're after Leylines, which means we're also after Helm. So this selection of things I quite like the look of. And they've got Dauthi Voidwalkers, so maybe our Entomb plan is less good. I don't think we're trying to kill them though. I think we're just going to rock out like this. So we're probably getting rid of a couple of these and a couple of these. And then maybe it's just one of each. Oh no, that's the Duress. Maybe we just do something like this. So we have this plan available for us if we need it. But the plan is to Helm of Obedience our opponent out. We could board in this Sheoldred, but we don't want our opponent to reanimate that either. They take it from us. But I suppose we'll be the ones that get to decide when we get this, because we can just tutor for it. Maybe we do on this. Maybe it's the Lavaspur Boots that go and we'll have a Sheoldred the Apocalypse instead. I'm not very confident about this one. Well, well, well. Okay. 1, 2, so we're pretty close. We're pretty close to the Helm going off here. And we'll pay 3 of my finest life to duress our opponent to make sure that we're not going to lose our Helm here. Brainstorm, Entomb, Dauthi Voidwalker. It's not great for us. I think we've got to take the Force here and play this and this out and hopefully draw Smart Fat Mana. We've got days we have to play around. Like Dark Ritual's good. Dark Ritual's very good, in fact. Right, so there's Blue Delta and nothing. Chrome Mox, that's not the one. We can turn on our Mox Opal, but we can't play around the day, so we may as well wait. And in turn Brainstorm? No. They drew a troll, so we have perfect information. That troll goes into the void, where it belongs. So I believe our opponent's going to play out the Dauthi Voidwalker this turn to stop any graveyard shenanigans we have. Oh no, they're going for the Brainstorm. If they have a grief to take out this Helm of Obedience, that's going to be a real pain. That's going to be something we have to echo back into our deck at that point. Our entire game has been built around this opening hand. Oh, don't do it. Alright, Ponder. They can still pitch cast a grief here. Grief is a good name for it when we get hit by it in this hand. Alright. Black card is good. It's a black card. Right, should we try and win the game? Helm of Obedience. They can daze and we can pay. And then next turn we kill them. They shouldn't have anything to interfere with these things apart from borrowers. Just buys them a turn. If they got another daze, they did not have another daze. Alright, opponent. You've got a turn. Alright. We got a Helm of Obedience kill on the board. Love it. I still think the Helm of Obedience plan is good. And I do think the Echo plan is a bit worse for us. Kind of like the One Ring here, because if we're on lower resources, which we are likely to be in this matchup, this feels like a good way of gassing back up. Are we supposed to just be off the Echoes altogether? What if we do this instead? That gives us another slot that we can tinker with. What would we put in that? Maybe we just keep the Lavaspur Boots in for the backup plan. Can live with that. Let's try that. Because our opponent's going to have some disruption in every hand they have. And as you've seen, it's quite likely they have 2 pieces of disruption. So we can discard our opponent's hand a bunch, and then we can sit a Leyline, and then we're just waiting for the Beseech the Mirror or the Helm. Honestly, this seems fine. It could definitely go wrong, but I'm pretty accepting of this hand. It stops the worst things our opponent can do to us, in terms of just like reanimating a giant monster. Sure, our hand is pretty grief-proof because it's not great. But it's fine for our purposes. Are you going to start whittling away our Thoughtseizes, or are you going to attack the Ritual? I'm going to whittle away the Thoughtseizes. We could see a Brainstorm here. Could see a Daze. I think I'll play this out to play around a Daze. I don't want them to just Daze our Thoughtseize. I want to get a good look at what you're working with. Now, they could Brainstorm and hide information as the other option that's available to them too. But they were pretty adamant they didn't want this, our first Thoughtseize to hit them. Well, they took one of them. Right, yeah, so the other Brainstorms, they're going to hide the best card. And now we take a peek. Engineered Explosives and Reanimate. That's a pretty easy choice. So what did they hide, I wonder? A Brazen Borrower? Brazen Borrower and an Entomb? That would be a bit naughty, wouldn't it? Okay. Over to us. There's no wasteland over there, which is nice. Yep, we certainly have the mana to cast a Beseech. So we've got 5 draws that just auto win us the game. The One Ring and Sheoldred are both great too. Although they counterspell Sheoldred and reanimate it, less good. Right, there's the Undercity Sewers. They're left on top. And a Doughty Voidwalker. Alright, this is actively good for us if we're going to draw a Sheoldred. Because we don't... Well, I guess it goes into the void here and they just get it right. It doesn't make a difference. A Duress. We don't need to fire that off now. We can wait till we draw the business. So we've got 6 turns again being down by Doughty. That's acceptable. We might never draw what we need here. Empty the Warrens that we can't cast. A classic. Okay. Take another hit. A Mox Opal. That does allow us to do a modest empty the Warrens. I think that's acceptable. Let's duress our opponent first. Flusterstorm. Yeah, that can get out, can't it? Just go for this. Now we already have the mana for a Beseech after, so we may as well get some goblins going. Right, you can add to our storm there, opponent. No. Okay, they decided against it. It's not the most amount of goblins you've ever seen in your life, but it's reasonable. Like, it's a 3-turn clock, but only just. Right, so now we're going to see that brainstorm. So we still have some draws that win us the game, but we're actually applying pressure faster than our opponent is. Right, they binned off an unlicensed hearse. That's good for us. We don't want them keeping the top card of the library. We don't know what they got in their hands. We should dismiss this. I assume the Reanimator's gone with their brainstorm fetch land. If we hardcast a Grief, we get a 9 and we attack. They block 1, take 7. Or we could hold some back. I don't know. We'll see what transpires and then do the maths. Cycling a Troll. Okay, so they can still play a 4-drop here if they want to. They do not. Okay. Let's attack our opponent with a lot of guys. Orcish Bowmasters can certainly ping down and do some work here. Playing as a Saga. It's pretty good. Our opponent might have boarded out. They shouldn't have boarded out Wastelands, actually. That'd be... And they didn't. They had them in the second game, didn't they? So our opponent is good enough to not board out those for sure. All right. So we're getting a Ponder. Next time we can start cranking out the old constructs, and we've also got the going faster boots. Lavaspur somethings. I'll remember their name one day, don't worry. Sonic Shoes. Another Doughty. Alright, so that kills us next turn, right? So they attack for 3 here. And then the following turn they attack for 6, and that's lethal. That's not great. The race has turned against us. Orcish Bowmasters pinging for 1 is good though, if we can draw one of those. Agadeem's Awakening, that doesn't do it, does it? Return from your graveyard, so this isn't going to work. We can't bring back a Grief or anything. Not that would make a difference here. And they don't have a graveyard anyway. Yeah, I think our opponent's going to pip us to the post here. And just never quite got where it needed to go in the end. Yeah. GG's opponent. Yeah, so the second game, we wheeled our opponent into like the nuts and we just got absolutely bodied. And then in this game, we had a pretty good run of it. We just needed to draw some gas. Like we had 5 cards. Well, we had 5. We had 7 cards that were just like basically game enders if we drew them. Like the Sheoldred, the One Ring, and the 4 Beseech, and the Helm of Obedience. Those are all just like game enders if we drew them. If we'd have drawn the Urza Saga 1 turn earlier, we win. Like if we drew an Orcish Bowmasters that turn, we win. So the margins are pretty tight. I think we're a little bit unfortunate there, but that's the way Magic goes sometimes. All right, we are 2-2. We're splitting all the games 1-2, 2-1. So let's go to the final round and see if we can put a positive record on the board. Yeah, this opener certainly goes. I will keep this on. We're not going to have the best of times with Force of Wills, but we can play through them if our Dark Ritual resolves. We've won quite a few die rolls, so I think we can be relatively happy with our luck on that front. Right, Vault of Whispers. Let's get an Entomb going. Oh, I meant to cast a Dark Ritual then, didn't I? Whoops. That was a mistake there. Yeah, I just cast the wrong spell. I'm very sorry about that, everyone. So I'll cut this for blue. This for black. And then we'll flash this one back. I'll leave 1 blue in the pool in case we need to go with the other Echo. Okay, what does this hand do? A big load of nothing. I guess we'll Cabal Therapy our opponent first. Our opponent was pausing in a way that makes me think they might have... Oh, they didn't want to show us their hand. Oh, wow. I had nothing there. Stone cold nothing. They just didn't want us to see their hand. Alright, I'll take that one. We know nothing about our opponent's hand or deck or anything. There was a pause, like they had some sort of answer that might get us. What are we supposed to do in this situation? Are we supposed to play around any graveyard hate? Are we supposed to board in like the Empty the Warrens? I think we're just supposed to go straight in again, to be honest with you. This hand does not do anything, so we're going to send this one back. What does this hand do? Also very little. We don't really have an engine. We need like a Saga or something. We could keep this and then hope to draw an LED, but that doesn't feel great. I think we're just going to take another look. I think this has got some potential to go somewhere. We have to decide what we're not keeping here. Probably this Duress. Our opponent is mulliganed to 4 cards. 3 cards. Oh my. Are we the one who's going to get comboed on here? Pretty glad I won the die roll for this one. Unless they're like chasing a Leyline and they think that we struggle to win through a Leyline. Okay, that's what they were doing. They were chasing the Leyline. That's fine for us. It just means that our Entomb goes underneath our Chrome Mox. Ancient Tomb, Leyline, which doesn't really give us the most amount of information about what our opponent's playing. Let's play this Chrome Mox. Let's imprint this Entomb. Let's cast a Thoughtseize Tiger on our opponent. You've got 1 card in hand. What is it? A Tiger. Okay, I'll play this tapped and pass. Alright, so they were just chasing the Leyline. Maybe we didn't need to Thoughtseize them there. An Echo, not the most helpful, but if we can find some like other artifact mana, we can maybe get there with it. Shadow Skull Smashing. Alright, just like red-green initiative. Thoughtseize. Are we firing this off? What would they not have cast here? They would definitely cast a 4-drop if they had one, so maybe it's a 5-drop. Or maybe it's just a land. I think it's most likely to be another land. I think we're just going to let them have another turn. A Seething Song. Oh, was this the dragon combo deck? I think Summons, whatever it's called. That makes 4/4 Prowess Dragons. I think that's what this deck is. I know Phil and Brian both played it recently. I don't particularly like the list. I think it could do with a bit of work. I think Brian's assessment of it was really good. If you're interested, you should check out his channel, The Epic Storm. He had some good thoughts on how to improve it. Alright. Manamorphose. Sure. At least we know what our opponent's playing now. Bergie's good. So we could cast this Entomb to thin out a card from our deck. But it's so marginal. May as well just save it to imprint on something. Or whatever. Alright, we got nothing here. This is 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have one more turn. What can we draw in one turn that helps us out here? Good question. A Ruby Medallion. We don't care about that. They're not killing us this turn. We have one more turn. Don't really have much of a Beseech line available to us here. Saga, that's not going to get it done. Okay, so our opponent mulled to Leyline and it was good. What are we supposed to do about that? I think we kind of want to just bop our opponent on turn 1 here. I think I like the Empty as another way that we can potentially do that. I think the Echoes look a little bit suspect here if they're going to be going that deep onto Leyline. We could just go for like Leyline Helm combo instead of this. If our opponent's willing to go to 3 on the play, I think maybe we're just going to try and cheese them like this. This isn't... the Leylines won't really impact our opponent that much. That's not what this is about right now. It still gives us 2 slots, so we can have 1 and 1 still. But I just don't think these other tools are where we need to be. So maybe we can just cheese our opponent with some different stuff going on. Nope, we need to mulligan this one. Leyline. And this is what, 1, 2... This doesn't actually get us where we need to go. I don't think we can keep this one. So our opponent's probably killing us on turn 3 most of the time. I don't think this gets us there by turn 3. That's already quite redundant in some of the cards. I'm going to mulligan. This is going to be harder to turn on. 1, 2... 1/2 mana. We can play this. And then where are we going? No, I just don't like it. Okay, Thoughtseize and Bowmasters. I think we're going to keep this. Let's keep this, this. I guess we need this. Let's get rid of one of these. You turn 1, put this in Thoughts our opponent. Turn 2, maybe cast this. Cast an ugly looking hand, isn't it? A very ugly looking hand. Okay, our opponent is, as we assumed, going very low on looking for Leyline. So I think we just hold and we don't immediately play out any permanents. Oh, they didn't start with it in play. That's fascinating to me. I think we don't play out any permanents though, because we don't really want to pitch this Dark Ritual if we can avoid it. A Null Rod. Okay. Did not expect that one, to be honest with you. A Lotus Petal. Okay. So our opponent did mull to some severe hate. They've got a lot for us. But hopefully this means that their hand doesn't really go anywhere. But if they've got like a Burgie or something here as well, that's going to be pretty... A second Null Rod. Medallion. Sure. Oh, they got a follow-up as well. Yikes. It's going to be like the one of the draw spells. A Burning Wish. What are they going to go find? Would love to find Agadeem's Awakening or something here. But I think Null Rod is probably going to be lights out for us. Alright, they got Jessica's Will. Can we find Black Source? No, we can't. Yikes. Maybe we should have just Thoughtseized our opponent's hand when they didn't play a Leyline. It was clear they had something, wasn't it? Maybe this one is entirely on me there. It's going to be difficult for us to come out from underneath this Null Rod. I think we're a bit unfortunate with our mulligans in this game as well, but they went pretty hard to find hate, whereas we can play around a lot of that hate reasonably well. Just not today. Yikes. Our opponent does need to win the game somehow, but they could just play a Burgie, and that would be probably lights out for us. So if we can string together some sort of like Beseech the Mirror style. Okay, so they got Mindbreak Traps, Null Rods, and Leylines for us. It's a little bit mean. To be fair, they did scoop they didn't need to in the first game. So, feel a bit fortunate on that front as well. So, alright, seeking some beasties. We got another Question Druid and a Medallion. What are they going to go for here? Some more cards that they don't get to cast. I think if I were them, I'd probably just cast the Seek the Beast, the Question Druid there. Oh wow, we're cooking now. Let's play this. Our opponent's got one card in hand. We don't know what it is. Alright, I'll Thoughtseize. It's a Leyline of the Void, sure. So they're going to play out a Question Druid and then play out a Question Druid. And then maybe we get to Bowmasters, one of them down. One Druid. If they've got a spell here, that's going to be annoying for us. They do not. A land would be good. We're asking for a lot. If they attack, maybe we get to kill them both. It comes at the cost of our Duress, though. We don't get to use that. I think that's acceptable. We want to clean this board up so we can ping one and then block the other. And God forbid our opponent plays a Manamorphose. A Seething Song. Oh, Dark Ritual. Bowmasters. We'll ping down one of them. We've entered weird territory. We have more life than our opponent for now. But they might just be making some dragons. Burgie. Oh, that's bigger than all the things we get to do, isn't it? Okay. Being a Storm deck that gets to play Null Rod is very rude in the old Storm versus Storm world. I don't think we can afford to block this just yet. If we block later, we save more damage, and they're very unlikely to be able to remove our token. Unless they're basically killing us. Our opponent has no cards in their hand. I'll play this Lotus Petal. I'll play this Chrome Mox. I will imprint this. I think it's the Cabal Therapy here. The Leyline is kind of useless, but if we draw the thing, maybe we can backdoor our way to a combo. So we're trying to find a land next turn so we can start making some Saga constructs. I'm very surprised our opponent... Ooh, Manamorphose though. That's interesting. I'm going to say I'd be very surprised if our opponent doesn't win this game. So we can ping this and we can try and block it, but I don't think that's going to work. I think we're better off hitting our opponent's life total and maybe we get some sort of natural tendrils or something going on. Yep, stuff is happening over there. If we can find a land, we'll get to make 3/3, and then it'll be bigger. So I think this turn we probably don't block, and then the turn after we have to block. All right, Questing Druid, welcome back. Oh, Galvanic Relay. That was your last card. Okay, let's see how bad it is. 4 cards off the top. Shadow Skull, that kills our guys. Namesticker Goblin, that's just a guy. It's just a guy. Yeah, these things are pretty good. Yep, so we have to block now because we don't get to block if we don't. Yeah, so we don't get to block here because they can just Shatter Skull smashing us next turn and take out both of our blockers. We can make this guy instant speed if we draw a land. It feels like we've just been dead since turn 1, really. That doesn't do anything. No, we're just dead. Yeah, the null rods are pretty strong. So, unfortunately, we finished with a 2-3 record. If we look at the actual matchups, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 2-1, 2-1. So we were splitting all the games, but we just couldn't quite get there. So what do I think of this deck? I think it's very strong. I think it's good. It does have weaknesses to things like Null Rod in quite a big way, and we don't really have anything good to beat Null Rod. I did feel that sometimes it was difficult to get the turn 1s as much as I was expecting with this deck. Like in the final round, for example, we mulliganed to try and get a hand that really did something, and we ended up with a hand that kind of didn't do very much. If we'd have Thoughtseized on that last game and taken the Null Rod, things would have been a little bit different. Not that much different, because we kind of just drew nothing. We drew a lot of dead air. So maybe like our plan of boarding some of these things out wasn't correct, but I did say that I'm not exactly a Storm aficionado, so this is not really my wheelhouse. Although I did brew a very early sideways version of this ages ago, before Beseech the Mirror was out, where it had Sheoldreds and Bowmasters. It was more about just casting Echo repeatedly, but then did also have a Tendrils win. This is obviously a different beast. But I did alright with that. It was a little bit more linear, I think. And the hands, it was a lot easier to understand which hands you were keeping. It was like, okay, I can make a turn 1 Sheoldred, or I can, you know, spin the wheel, or I've got Bowmaster into wheel, whatever. Whereas this one, you kind of think, okay, what are my odds for drawing action? And I watch the Epic Storm channel, which is an excellent channel that you should watch as well. And what I'm always impressed with Brian is that he knows like the odds roughly of when a hand is keepable. So he'll look at a hand and say, okay, the chance of drawing a payoff here are quite high, so I'm just going to keep this one. Even though it doesn't go anywhere on itself, he knows that in the time that he needs it to, it's very likely to. And I just don't have that sort of reps or skills with these decks to really be able to do that. It did feel like we were a little bit unfortunate on a few occasions, like against the blue-black scam matchup, where we just we wheeled them into like the perfect 7, and then we also didn't really draw any business for so many turns, and like anything would have been enough, and we just didn't really get there. So there are definitely some margins of variance you can have here, but you can really reduce that by putting in the reps and learning the deck. And this is definitely the sort of deck that will reward you if you put in the time to learn it. So like I said at the top, it was a double back-to-back Legacy Challenge win from this deck on the same player, which is a phenomenal feat. So clearly the deck is very good. Not necessarily the easiest thing in the world to pilot sometimes, as I think I demonstrated. But we did get to showcase the different ways it can win. We did get to do one Echo of Eons with Bowmaster on the battlefield, which made me happy. But we got to do that. We got to do some, as a Saga beatdown, we got to Tendril some people a bit. So we sort of showcased the different aspects of the deck. But we also showcased some of the ways it can fall down. So, you know, we mulliganed a bit more. Maybe we're supposed to keep one of those hands and like hope that we draw off the top of it better, instead of having like an engine, whether that's a Saga or a Beseech the Mirror or something to get us, you know, doing things. But I think we sort of showcased the rise and fall of this deck, and also how sometimes you're going to struggle a bit as you put in the time to learn the matchups and how you're sideboarding stuff. And I believe the player who did get the back-to-back challenges with it has a guide to it. So I'm going to put a link to their social media accounts so you can go and have a look. And I believe they have their guide to this deck posted up there. I think it's on their Patreon, something like that. Anyway, so you can definitely have a look if you want to learn more about this deck, and who better to learn from than someone who absolutely clapped out some amazing results. The sideboard here seemed fine. I think one thing I would consider would be a fatal push for things like specifically Lavinia, which can be a bit of a burden if you're trying to get through that way. I think No Rod is just going to be lights out for us all the time. I don't know how we're supposed to beat Null Rod, really. Maybe like a small Empty the Warrens and ride it, or the Sheoldred. But considering so much of our starting mana, like our Vault of Whispers and all of our Chrome Moxes and Mox Opal and stuff are all shut off, it's going to be very difficult to come back from a Null Rod. But, you know, you just kind of pay the ticket, take the ride sometimes, and that's where you end up. So, not necessarily the best record for this, but I think we did showcase it quite nicely and we had some interesting games there. So, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel out. I'm getting pretty close to 3,000 subs, which is very exciting for me. So, once again, thank you everyone who's subbed. And if you haven't subbed, why not? You can help me reach that 3,000 mark. I really would appreciate it. All right, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye. If you'd like to support me in the channel, please check out my Patreon. It has a free guide to budget turbo depths as well as 3 tiers of support. A low cost one that enters you into my monthly raffle for a free donation deck on the channel, a mid-tier subscription that gives you access to my detailed turbo depths guide that is updated every month as well as regular articles, and lastly the higher tier gives you all of the above as well as a monthly donation deck for my channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel this way, please check out the link in the description.